Hey now, welcome to Fitz's Electric Bar. I have a what I would consider to be a holy grail of these interviews, which is somebody youthful, because sadly many of us are older white males. That's not just necessarily white, but definitely older in the VC community tends to be, at least the ones I watch. I guess the algorithms are working their magic. And also a gal, because we are tend to be much sort of male dominated. And it's always nice to get a different point of view. And certainly, somebody of the female persuasion would be nice. So thank you for joining, Amy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So why don't we just start with the getting to know you stuff? So I know some of the answers to this, but when did you start your channel?
I started my channel, it's been about 3 weeks now. I was featured, I guess, did an interview with Mazzy from Mazzy's Music. That was about 2 months ago, and then he kind of gave me the push, was like, you should start your own channel. There's not a lot of younger and female people in the vinyl community, so people might be interested in hearing your perspective on vinyl. So that kind of he kind of gave me the push, I guess. So it's been about 3 weeks. I have 4 videos, about 3 weeks in. Still very, very new.
You are also probably one of the fastest growing, partly because of some of Mazzy's observations, I think, and also
hmm
his support, I think, is helpful. But you've also done some really good, compelling videos. So good on you.
Thank you. Yeah, I it grew a lot faster than I had anticipated, so I'm very grateful for that. Wasn't expecting it.
Tell me why you started your channel. What was the motivation for you to do this, or what is the motivation for you?
Well, I guess the main push besides Mazzy to start the channel was, and if you watched my first video, you kind of get an idea of why I started it. But I got this crazy collection. I run an online-based record store, and I got a collection that's kind of a I don't know when I'm going to top this collection kind of collection. A lot of 90s and 80s grunge, hip hop, doom, sludge metal, a lot of things industrial, a lot of things that are really, really hard to find because they just weren't printing a lot of vinyl during that time period. So I'm like, if I'm going to make a YouTube video, this is what I should be making a YouTube video about, or this is a good start, I guess. So that's what really made me like, okay, if I'm going to do this, this is the time to start doing it. But also just I like watching other people's YouTube channels. I enjoy it. So I thought, maybe I could try it and see what happens. Just kind of another way to talk about vinyl and be in the vinyl community. And to get my name out is good marketing as well for my business. So,
Cool. A lot of us who are a little bit older, I think we share the same experience, which is that we have continued to be passionate about music, but a lot of our friends it's no longer a main thing in their lives. And
mhm.
so this whole VC community is a chance for us to both talk about, but also listen to other people who are equally passionate about music. You being a younger member of the VC, do you have good friends where music is a main part of your relationship?
I would say I've made a lot of friends in the music community because I like music. Like that was what brought us together. But friends growing up and friends now and family members, I've always kind of been an outlier as far as not music, but vinyl. I just went on a girls' trip to Victoria with my sisters and mom, and I had to like drag them kind of to the record store. It's not something that a lot of my natural friends growing up were into. So when I found the vinyl community, I was like, these are my people. I found them. Like I'm not alone. So, um, yeah, I mean, everyone likes music. A lot of my friends, we like music, listening to music, but vinyl has definitely been something that's been hard to find others that are similar to me. So it's nice. This is nice that way.
That's great. And where are you based?
I am north of Seattle. I'm from Bellingham, Washington. I live in Mount Vernon now.
Not far from me. I'm up in Vancouver
No, not
now.
at all.
Yeah. Um, and how did you come up with your moniker, your channel name? Esky loves vinyl. Oh, no, sorry,
I
Esky knows vinyl. I apologize.
Eskimo's vinyl, yes. It is a playoff of my last name, so kind of like how Mazzy is short for Maslow, Eski is short for my last name. And Nose Vinyl is kind of sell on Whatnot, and I found Whatnot as a buyer. And when I signed up for Whatnot, I don't want to say it was like I was like an older person as far as using my username. I used my last name as my username, kind of like an email address, and nobody could pronounce it. It's a hard name to pronounce. So people started calling me Esky, which I've gotten from other people that I know personally. And then somebody would always say Esky knows, because I kind of just had a wide range of tastes in music. And so that kind of stuck. And I really like baseball too. I don't know if you can tell, but I
Yeah.
kind of like the Bo's nose kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of a catchy, interesting name. So that's my name on Whatnot. And I just decided to use it for YouTube as well.
Cross-platform pollination.
Yep.
Good for you. Um, so it's been a brief period, but what has your experience been like specifically to the few weeks you've had the YouTube channel? Any surprises or anything about that that sticks out?
I'm mostly just surprised on how much traction it's gotten. I wasn't expecting to have as many views or follows or comments as what I have had. I was going to be happy with 100 views for that first video and like 50 followers. So that has been surprising, and I'm very grateful for that. Also, I was expecting there to be more negativity, honestly. I thought YouTube, is this the internet, and there's a lot of negative people on the internet. So I was expecting to be like, okay, I got to be tough-skinned if there's some negative comments. But really, everyone has been very positive and welcoming, and I thought kind of like, oh, most Final Community people are probably already kind of on Whatnot, or I've seen them through Mazzy or whatever. There's a lot of new people too that I've come to be aware of and might get to know better. So that's been really cool. It's been a positive experience so far.
Good. Well, I hope it continues. I also was a bit wary about that and possible negativity.
Mhm.
I'm not really interested in engaging with
Yeah.
negativity. But mine's been very positive. I'm sure there's some people who've had some challenges, but mostly, I think most of us have found it very positive. I hope it continues for you. Um, Other major interests. So you mentioned baseball, but what other things do you really enjoy doing in your free time?
When I grew up, I played a lot of sports growing up. So basketball and baseball were huge in my life. It was like every weekend, all summer long. That's kind of what I did, playing travel teams. So when I became an adult, I was like, what do I do with myself? I have all this free time now, not to play sports anymore. But I'm an avid follower of the Mariners. Obviously, music is a huge part of my life. It's not just my job, but what I like to do. Listen to music all the time and go dig in record stores and all that kind of stuff. Also, going outside. I like gardening, flower garden, hiking when I can. It's really beautiful here, especially in the summertime. So you know that. We got to
Mm.
cram everything
Yeah,
in the summer. Yeah, so.
cool. It was interesting when I put, these 10 questions together and I've been confidently asking them of everybody. And when you ask a question, you sort of feel that they need to have the context or be familiar with what you're talking about, right? And I
Mhm.
suddenly had this like moment of, oh, this feels like a real boomer set of questions, some of these. So if any of these are ones that you have no opinion on because you just don't really care about the artists or
Mhm.
whatever, you're welcome to just say, pass or whatever, no opinion. You don't
Okay,
give an
I'll
answer.
try my
So,
best.
okay. So here are the 10 questions. Um, so first of all, like what is what I would call a front of the pile record that you're listening to these days? It doesn't have to be a new record. It can be an old record, but you just find that it's kind of on repeat and you want to keep listening to it.
That's a great question. Try to think. I feel like because of the recent reissue, Smashing Pumpkins Siamese Dream, they just had the Record Store Day Essential reissue on Red, and I got an original press from Chris as well. So I've been listening to that a lot recently. I saw them in concert with my sister last summer as well. That's not a new album. It's not a new album to me, but I feel like I've been listening to a lot
It's nice.
more recently. Yeah.
Cool. Maybe you sort of mentioned this, but tell me about a favorite concert experience in your lifetime, a really memorable concert experience.
Favorite concert experience? On the spot. Let's see.
It's hard. And just as a preamble, I'll ask a few favorite questions. It doesn't have to be your number one all-time favorite. We who rank things are always thinking about, I've got to come up with the number
Yeah,
one.
no,
Just
I get it. I get it. Sometimes I'm bad at on the spot favorites, but let's see. I one of the first concerts I went to by myself, or like not without my parents, like with my friends, was Broken Bells in Vancouver. And I remember that being really fun. It was a smaller venue. I love that band. And I remember I was 19 and the drinking age in Canada was 19. So I thought it was so cool that we could go to a bar and it was allowed in Canada. Also, one of my favorite guilty pleasure bands, which I guess I'm not ashamed to say, is Hall and Oates. And I really enjoy that with my sisters. So my sisters and I went to see them in concert a couple years ago, like when before they were, I think they're like officially don't talk to each other anymore. But um, we saw Sharon Jones and the Dapkins open up for them, and I wasn't aware of her prior to that. And wow, she put on an amazing show, and it was right before she passed away. I think she passed away like 3 months after that, unfortunately. But she was up there just cutting a rug on stage, just no worries in the world. That was really the highlight of that show and being there with my sisters. And there's something about seeing music outside that's always fun too.
Beautiful. Thank you. Do you have a favorite Bowie record?
Favorite Bowie record? Off the top of my head, I'm gonna say Low, but I like that's hard. There's a lot of great Bowie records, but I'm gonna say Low off the top of my head. I like how there's two different stories on side A and side B. Just I don't know. Bowie's always was always reinventing himself, I feel like, so that was no exception on that album.
Kind of a corollary question, but do you remember which Bowie record was you're into to Bowie's music?
Um, the first record I had of his is probably Ziggy Stardust. Probably a lot of people's first,
Yeah,
especially my generation. Yeah.
great. Um, Tell me what you think is one of the saddest songs ever.
Oh man. Um, Saddest songs ever. When I think of sad songs, I think of like Elliott Smith, uh, Bright Eyes. Um, I listen to a lot of sad music. I can't think of a specific sad song, but Elliott Smith was the first person that came to my head as far as sad.
Great. What about one of the most joyful records ever or songs?
Joyful songs. One of my favorite songs ever, probably top five, is Dancing in the Moonlight. And I don't know if it's a the lyrics necessarily are happy, but there's something about it that always puts me in a good mood. Like no matter what, when I hear that song, it's a no skip song and it's a song that'll make me smile. Um, so
Thin Lizzy,
that's not
right?
for sure. King's Harvest.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're kind of a one hit wonder, but
Oh, interesting.
mhm.
Cool. Thank you. Um, I don't know what your living arrangement is, but many of us have like, wives or kids or whatever around. And so the scenario is that you come down in the morning and everybody's out and you've got the place to yourself. And what's like a perfect first record of the day for you that you can play it at a good volume?
First record. Well, usually this doesn't really go with the question. I usually start with a jazz record in the morning. That's like my warm up. That's not really like a play at a loud volume type of record. But I'm really into, and it's probably will age myself or put myself in my generation here. I'm definitely grew up in the emo phase. So that's the type of record that I would put on that maybe not everyone would want to hear kind of record when I'm thinking about other people being around, but some little emo, little screamo music, nostalgic for that. So,
Great. Um, who would you choose as one of the most underrated artists or bands ever?
oh man, that's a tougher question than the other way around. I feel like the overrated is
Hmm.
one I more think about than underrated. Underrated bands. Hmm. I mean, there's a lot of underrated. I'm just thinking about 90s bands that are underrated. How about, I'm going to go with the Canadian band. How about the Tragically Hip? I'm always shocked that they didn't get bigger in the United States. I feel like if they were an American band, they would have blown up here. But for whatever reason, I feel like a lot of Americans aren't really aware of them.
Great. Yeah, it's funny. We often scratched our heads here in Canada because it's hard, you're hard pressed to say they're underrated in Canada, but we never understood why they never really took off in the States.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking to Canadians, so you're probably like, they're huge here, but in America, a lot of people don't know who they are.
It's true. Um, Van Morrison or Jackson Brown?
Van Morrison.
Joni Mitchell or Aretha Franklin?
Aretha Franklin. Those are two completely opposite
I know
choices,
Van
but
and Jackson are kind of in the same
it's
ballpark.
somewhat
I don't
similar.
know.
Yeah.
I like the difference of Joni and Aretha because it's a very polarizing question.
Yeah, like it depends on the day and the mood, but for right now, we're gonna say Aretha.
Perfect. Okay, and the last of the 10 questions, three absolute must-have desert island discs.
For me personally, shoot, I would say probably Death Cab for Cutie. Transatlanticism is my probably my favorite album of all time, so I'll put that on there. Um, Third Eye Blind's first album, put that on there. I feel like from front to back, I really like that album. And then last, man, that's a tough one. I feel like I have to put some Chris Cornell related thing. Chris Cornell's my favorite singer. Let's do Louder Than Love by Soundgarden.
Great. I know that's a really tough and unfair question to be
Yeah,
asked.
there's so many good music out there. So
And the joke is, of course, that we all would share is that if I were to ask you the same question tomorrow, you might get three different.
exactly, you probably would.
Okay. So now the five kind of somewhat customized. Some of them are repeats. Um, let's imagine I have the power to be able to drop you into a music scene from the past.
hmm
And I'll give you a few examples, but you can choose one of your own. And one would be, let's say, the UK punk scene. So the beginnings of the Clash and the Sex Pistols and the Stranglers, etc. The New York punk scene, CBGB's, Television, Talking Heads, Blondie, Ramones, etc. The Manchester scene, the whole Stone Roses and Spiral Carpets. You might even extend that out to Oasis and New Order, Back to New Order, that kind of thing.
hmm
Um, because of knowing a little bit about you, then the sort of the Seattle scene. I won't even just say grunge because there's some stuff that's grunge adjacent, but not necessarily grunge. So obviously Soundgarden, Nirvana, Mudhoney, whatever in that sort of the Seattle scene, which you might have experienced part of. Hamburg, 60 to 62 when the Beatles first kind of happened. Any of those appeal, or do you have a scene that you would prefer? Laurel Canyon, let's say, a scene that you would love to be dropped into?
The first one that comes to my head is the definitely Seattle grunge era because I love that type of music, as you can kind of tell. But I was too young to have experienced it firsthand, so to have been my age then would have been very cool. And I'm kind of jealous or envious about those that got to experience firsthand, and I just get to listen to it. Second one though was one you didn't mention, would probably be like the Summer of Love in San Francisco. Like that would be very I feel like fun to experience firsthand.
Was that with the Summer of Love, is it as much the culture and the scene and what was happening as the music, or?
Definitely, I feel like it's a mixture of everything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never kind of got that sort of same, the naivete and the innocence of that period, right? After, let's say, Altamont or whatever, that was like 100% fully over.
hmm
Yeah. Um, okay, so that was great. What artist or band do you remember sparking your deep interest in music? So maybe something that you remember from growing up that just went, oh my God, not only do I love this music, but I love music.
Um, that's tough. I remember when I was really little, I had a cassette tape player and I listened to my parents' cassette tapes, and for whatever reason, I would listen to Def Leppard a lot. I know that's so kind of a polarizing. A lot of people don't like Def Leppard, but when I was a 5-year-old, I loved Def Leppard and I listened to their cassette tapes a lot. My parents, they were young in the 80s, so a lot of 80s music is what I listened to when I was really little, and I still do, but a lot of their cassette tapes, and kind of from that point on, I just was always listening to music.
We all need our gateway bands, right?
hmm
Yeah. I mean, my one of my first was Tom Jones. So, I mean, Actually, I shouldn't laugh because I think he's incredible. You look at some of these YouTube videos of him performing with Janis Joplin and stuff, and you just go, "Oh my God, that guy's so much cooler than I had any idea."
Hmm.
Yeah, cool. So I didn't realize that you like jazz music. You mentioned about putting on a jazz record at the beginning. So my question was going to be, but I'm going to let you expound on this, is jazz music, you love it, or it's like throwing instruments down a flight of stairs?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I'm wearing a jazz shirt right now, if you can see it or not, but I have the
Yes.
Midnight
Kenny
Blue
Burrell,
shirt.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny Burrell. Yeah. Jazz was something that like in high school, I like kind of liked the idea of jazz, but I didn't really listen to jazz. And it wasn't until I was older that I just randomly, I think John Coltrane's Soul Train in my local store, because I don't live in Seattle, I live north of Seattle. I have one store here, and the local store it doesn't really it gets a lot of dad rock. There's not a lot of jazz that comes in. So we had a collection of jazz that came in, and I was like, I've heard of John Coltrane. I'm going to try this out. So I took that home and listened to it, and I liked it. And then I bought a Miles Davis. Can't remember which one. It was one of the Coolin, Steeman. It was one of those from that series that I bought next, and it's almost like relearning music. 'Cause you said throwing instruments at the. It was almost like that in a good way for me because there's something about jazz where I can hear it in a restaurant. I'm like, I think I know who that is, but I don't know. It's not like a rock song where it's like you immediately know, okay, that's Led Zeppelin, or I know that's from that album. Jazz is still like it's like a foreign language almost, where I'm still learning it, but I love it. Um, when I was first learning it, and it's still like that to a point now. But I start off every morning with a jazz record. I don't have a huge jazz collection, but it's growing, and I definitely am a fan of jazz. Mostly like hard bop. I'm not a big free jazz Sun Ra person for the most part. Sometimes I can get down with some Pharoah Sanders or Eric Dolphy, but yeah, I'm a fan of jazz. Yes to jazz.
That's great. I'm with you on the free jazz stuff. Like I'm actually going to do, I think, a segment about I love jazz, but I'm a real sort of almost MOR jazz guy. And the best way I can describe it is Pharoah Sanders, the creator has a master plan, and it just starts off and it's so beautiful, and
Hmm.
then it gets just crazy. And I respect it, but it's kind of like it's just I love that early, the beginning part where it's so beautiful and modal and spiritual, and then when it gets crazy, it kind of I start to feel my teeth kind of grinding a bit.
Yeah, you're definitely going along on a trip with them.
You are. I also feel like it's my failure. Like I feel like I'm on a lifelong mission to better appreciate and understand some of the more free jazz stuff, but I'm
Hmm.
not there yet for the most part. Um, what instrument, and this would include singing, if you were, well, first of all, do you play an instrument?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, I'm just an appreciator of music. I come from a family that is somewhat musically gifted. Like my grandparents played in a two-piece band, and they would play music every Friday and Saturday night. And my dad played in a band, and he's played in a cover band now for like 15, 20 years. My sister's a talented singer. My aunt has a beautiful voice. There's a lot of musically talented people, but I did not get that, unfortunately. So I played the viola I started in fifth grade and played it through middle school, and that's the only instrument. I tried to teach myself to play guitar, but that I kind of got frustrated and then gave up on that, but maybe I'll try again.
Well, that sounds familiar. It's kind of like, I've picked up the guitar and played and play a little bit, but ultimately my desire to play well is
Hmm.
greater than my discipline
Yeah.
to actually learn to play well.
Yep. I
Yeah.
feel ya.
Well, so if you were to just wave a magic wand and pick an instrument, and this would also include singing, what would it be that you would play really well, and what kind of music would you perform?
Um, Man, I was gonna say guitar right away, but then you said singing. I'm like, well, maybe singing would be better. Um, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say guitar because I feel like guitar, like you're gonna sing to yourself even if you're a bad singer, right? But guitar, like, is something you can kind of, play as a hobby or for people or for yourself. So guitar is what I'm gonna go with. Which is probably the most common answer. And as far as music I would play, that's tough. I don't know. I'm not sure. Something of the rock, which I know is very wide, but rock oriented.
Hmm. Cool. I'm always interested when you hear interviews with musicians and they play a certain style, and yet the stuff that they listen to is very different than what they play. And I think that's
Hmm.
kind of cool too.
Hmm.
Okay, last question. What's the meaning of life?
What's the meaning of life? Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't know. Try to be a good person. I don't know if I can answer the question. Enjoy life, live life to the fullest, do the thing now, don't wait.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't,
there are people who've spent their whole lives trying to figure that out. And so I'm just,
I'm not the person to ask for that one.
well, Amy, thank you so much for participating in this. It's
Hmm.
great to have you on. I'm going to put the link below, of course, for your channel and for people to check that out and subscribe and like. And I look forward to watching more of your videos.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I've been like looking, you're at my screen right here, so I'm looking this way the whole time. So hopefully I'm not like looking off in the distance the whole video, but thank you
No,
for having me. It was nice to get to know you, and especially since you're really not that far away from me too.
yeah. Yeah, well, sometime come up. I've been encouraging Todd and Mazzy was up here recently, and we got together, which was really nice. And that's been one of my favorite parts of the VC is not just doing my videos, but actually
Hmm.
physically meeting people from the community. And my doing this is a little bit about just reaching out and establishing a connection with different channels and people.
Yeah, it's great. Great to get to know other people in the community. So thank you.
Thank you.